prove to the jury that he had a motive to do it.
Most of them were very surprised and shocked and stated that they had no idea that they had been stolen from.
Tonight, we take a trip to Alec's law firm to try to understand the connection between the murders and what happened to Alec earlier that day.
Alec Murdaugh was confronted by an accountant, a bookkeeper inside that law firm about some missing money, $700,000.
On the docket tonight in Kern County, California, the disappearance of the Cal City toddlers. Orrin and Orson West disappeared more than 2 years ago. They have never been found, but now their adoptive parents have been charged with their murders.
The guy says he came out and combing the streets for looking for the kids after 40 minutes when he realized that they were not there. I mean, 40 minutes is nothing for a couple of kids. They should be hanging around.
In tonight's Tank Takes, Alec's birthday video is now part of the evidence in the case. Does this video show the real Alec Murdaugh or the real Alec Murdaugh? Get ready. This hour of closing arguments starts right now.
I'm Vinnie Politan. Great to have you with us tonight here at Fat Jackson, Walterboro, South Carolina. We are covering this big trial in this very, well, maybe not very, but small town. Used to be a lot smaller. They've grown a little bit. Anyhow, today was all about the alleged motive, why Alec Murdaugh would kill his son and hunt down and shoot and kill his wife. Why would he do it? Why would he do it? Well, prosecutors say that night was the day of reckoning, the day where Alec was cornered and realized that all the things he had been doing, stealing money from clients, stealing money from his law partners, was going to be revealed. And it was, his whole world was unraveling. And he needed to do something to divert everyone's attention away from it. Something that would make people stop thinking about the missing $700,000 from his law firm and look at something else. So prosecutors say, well, he shot his son and shot his wife and pretended somebody else did it. So now Alec Murdaugh is not a guy who's stealing money, cheating his partners. Alec Murdaugh is a victim. His wife and son have been murdered. And maybe they're looking to track him down and kill him too. Someone's out to get Alec Murdaugh and his family. He is now a victim. He's no longer a crook. I don't know, it's their theory. Will the jury buy it? Will the jury even get to hear it? That's really the question right now in this trial, because we had some testimony about what was happening that day at his law firm, but it was outside the presence of the jury. The judge is listening to what the testimony is going to be and then is going to rule whether or not the jury will get to hear it, whether the jury will get to see the whole picture and hear the prosecutor's whole theory of the case. Like, why would he do it? Well, it starts with what happened at his law firm that day. We had testimony from one of the accountants at the firm. Take a listen.
Alec came into my office early and asked me why I needed that information and assured me that the money was in Chris Wilson's account and that they could get it anytime.
Did y'all discuss anything further when you had that conversation?
Just that we needed to get it, or I needed proof that it was there, that it was necessary to get it. At that point, I didn't indicate to him that I thought it was missing. I was just asking for the documentation.
And that was on what day?
It was sometime in between June 2nd and June 7th.
On June 7th, did the issue come back to a head?
The issue did come back to heads.
Just clear, this is June 7th, 2021.
This.
And how much were these fees supposed to be, did you know?
$792,000 in total.
And to this point, the firm had not received those fees, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Chris Wilson's office is saying initially, we already dispersed them.
Yes. And Chris Wilson's not saying anything to me.
Was, to your knowledge, was an inquiry made to Chris Wilson at that time?
Lee Cope, we had not inquired Chris Wilson other than requesting this information at this point in time.
All right. So tell me about June 7th. How does that go?
So on June 7th, I was going to make another run at finding out from Alec if we had their information. I went upstairs to his office is on the second floor, and he was leaning on a file cabinet outside his office. And he turned and looked at me when I came up and said, "What do you need now?" And gave me a very dirty look, not a look that I'd ever received from Alec, from just kind of frustrated with me look, which made me go, "Oh, you want to know? Let's go in your office." So we went in the office and closed the door, and at that point, I told him that I had reason to believe that he had received the funds himself and that I needed proof that he had not.
So here's the analysis I think the jury may have to do in this case based upon the way this evidence may come in and the arguments being made, especially when it comes to motive, is that which is more important to Alec Murdaugh? Is it his wealth and his reputation or his family, right? Because what they're saying is, the prosecutors, that the wealth and the reputation is more important than his family. It weighs heavier for Alec Murdaugh, that he'd rather retain that than have his family with him, his wife and son. I don't know, I'm down here in the low country, and it just seems to me that might be a tough sell down here because of the way folks are. I mean, it's about family. It really is. In a small community like this, it's about family. But let's bring in our think tank, see what they have to say about all this. We got a great one tonight. Joining me here at Fat Jackson, Walterboro, you got Jared Newman, criminal defense attorney, former law enforcement, actually knows Alec Murdaugh and has known him for years. Not close friends anymore, though.
I haven't talked to him since this.
Okay. And also with us, Tommy Pope, the man who prosecuted Susan Smith. I mean, that's a big thing that you carry around with you, right?
Yeah, that's probably, it'll be on my tombstone, I guess.
Well, let's not talk about tombstones today. And also with us, the man who represented Jodi Arias, Kirk Nurmi, knows all about big-time trials. Great to see you tonight, Kirk, as well. You know what you can do? You can phone in your order to Fat Jack. He's taking orders. Maybe we could ship it out to you tonight.
All right, Vinnie.
So let me start. Tommy, as a prosecutor, would you be comfortable with this alleged motive, arguing this to the jury?
You know, what I believe, and as a citizen and knowing Alec too, I think this was the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, we're seeing all the things that he wove together. The difficulty as a prosecutor, it doesn't necessarily make sense. You know, your points of who would ever do that to their family but a desperate man? So I think they're going to have to work hard, according to what the judge lets in, and he maybe telegraphed it. You and I talked about this before. He telegraphed it a little bit earlier in the week when there was an objection to a line of questioning with one of the friends about the roughly $800,000, and the judge allowed it in. So we
think some of this is going to come in for sure.
Yeah, and the difficulty is, that, again, what do you do with it when it gets in?
Right.
Yeah.
So, Jared, what are your thoughts? I mean, you know the jury's down here. Are they going to look at a man and think that he cares more about money and his reputation than his own flesh and blood?
I think the prosecution's done a good job with this point. This is generational betrayal. He's betrayed 100 years of a legacy. And I can see their point. This is desperation. I think the judge has tipped his hat a little bit because he told Mr. Waters, one, he said, "I find it's clear and convincing what you've shown me." Mm-hmm. And two, he went to Mr. Waters when they were having a colloquy and said, "So this is just all weaving in a thread." I think he's going to let it in.
He's going to let it in. So, Kirk, do you think this is a fair allegation of motive? Do you think that the jury should get the whole story?
Yeah, you know, it could be a fair allocation of motive, but Vinnie, I kind of agree with you. This idea that he chose money over family isn't one that's really going to sell. I don't know how they think that this, you know, this confrontation that day really motivated him to do this, like, as you said, to shift from a thief to a victim. But if I'm the prosecution, Vinnie, here's how I use this. I go down and say, okay, he's been confronted by this accountant. The gig is up. Who does he blame for the gig being up? His son who created this boat accident and started this whole windfall. He goes to confront his son. Maybe he gets in an argument, heat of passion, shoots his son. Mom comes home, sees what's going on, he needs to retaliate and shoot her. It would explain 2 guns. It would explain a lot of the evidence. And if I was the prosecution, you know, I'm not in the habit of advising the prosecution, but that's how I do it, because it would explain so much more than saying that he chose money over his family.
And this weave, this web of financial shenanigans goes deeper than just the $700,000. Let's listen to some more testimony from today connected to that.
I decided to print a ledger printout of our system of payments to Forge. And as I did that, I started printing all the documents that would relate to those disbursements, the disbursement statements and the canceled checks. And as I started printing the canceled checks off, I could see Bank of America on the back and Alec Murdaugh's signature. And everyone that came out was just put it a little bit more in the grave for me.
Once you started printing out all those Forge ones that had Alec's writing on it and Bank of America, and you contacted Forge, did you ask them whether or not they ever banked the real Forge, if they ever banked a Bank of America?
Lee Cope had that conversation, and Michael Gunn verified that they had not banked there in a number of years.
Did he ask you about any banking that Forge Consulting LLC did?
He did.
And what was his question to you?
He asked me if we banked with Bank of America.
And what was your response?
I told him that we had banked with Bank of America, but had not for the last 3 or 4 years.
What did you find out?
I spoke with Lee Cope, and he told me that Alex had been using an account called Forge to process the checks.
Is that account that he had been using, is that a legitimate Forge Consulting account?
Absolutely not.
Did any of that money that went into that account go to legitimate Forge?
No, sir.
Did Forge Consulting have anything to do with that particular account?
No, sir.
And do you know the defendant?
I do.
And when did you get to know the defendant?
I've known Alex since we were in high school. He was one of my best friends, yes. And I thought, you know, he was, and I thought he felt the same way about me.
You feel that way now?
I don't know how I feel now, Mr. Waters.
Fair enough.
He said he would try to meet with me the next morning, and that he was sorry. The first thing I asked him was, you know, Alec, what the is going on here? You know, what is going on? And have you done something else to me or that involves me that I don't know about? Because I know about this, and I've got to deal with this, but is there something else you've done that I don't know about that I need to be concerned with?
And what did he say?
He broke down crying. Said I can't right this second. He went inside, came back out with some paper towels, and told me that he had a drug problem, that he was addicted to opioids, and that he had been addicted for, I don't remember if he said 20 or 20 plus years, but I mean, you know, for 20 years or so.
Did he say anything about the money?
He told me that he had been stealing money.
Did he have a particular phrase about what he had done to you?
Me up.
He said he you up.
Me up or off or something like that, but I think it was he me up.
He said that he admitted to you he had been stealing client money?
Yes, sir.
He said so he confessed that to you, is that correct?
He said he had a lot of people up.
That last witness, Chris Wilson, this was a guy, described himself as best friends, one of the best friends of Alec Murdaugh. And he's one of his victims in all of this. Very emotional on the stand. It's rare that you see a lawyer, you know, choke up in a courtroom, but Chris Wilson did. Jared, what'd you think of his testimony?
I thought it was very compelling, and I thought it was more about money. It's about betrayal. Said he didn't know how he'd feel about Alex. And you mentioned on a show we did a while back how fragile our law licenses are. This guy had to put money in his trust account, and you're not supposed to do that.
To me, if he gets to testify in front of this jury, I think it gets you one step closer to you're betraying your best friend. You're taking his money. You don't care about him. You don't care about his career.
Well, you know, we talk about motive. I don't think what we're showing from all this is really as much motive as mental state, mens rea, or, you know, as the judge said, res gestae, you know, of the circumstances surrounding the crime. And what is proven is Alex will betray his own friends. I'll tell you, the Oxycontin thing, I've known Alex a long time, too, and I was a law enforcement officer, too, and the times I've spent with him, I didn't see the same evidence I see of OxyContin abuse that you see with that addict.
I've seen a lot of cases where, you know, rich celebrities get in trouble. So they're right in rehab.
Right.
They're in, it doesn't matter what the problem is, they're in rehab for whatever. Kirk, your thoughts about the testimony of Chris Wilson, because this is someone who was obviously very close to Alec, no longer close to him, but another one of his victims. I mean, Alec had no problem, you know, getting him tangled up in his little web of deceit and really putting him at risk at losing his law license, his livelihood. And this was someone who, you know, was standing up for Alec and taking him at his word.
Right. I mean, I think it shows that Alec Murdaugh was willing to break some barriers, some bonds that he's held for years. And I think that is a big deal because we talk about this money versus family. Would this go so far as murder? Well, he was willing to betray his best friend, put his best friend's law license. And also, if the best friend's allowed to testify about the OxyContin addiction, about a painkiller addiction, it could go to his state of mind and thinking at the time where that wall to murder his son and wife could be broken down as well. So I think that is very, very powerful emotional testimony that would really damn Mr. Murdaugh if it's allowed in.
Yeah, and it's also interesting watching Alec Murdaugh during the course of the trial. He takes on different postures for different witnesses. When the financial and the accountant's in, he's got his glasses on, he's looking like the little CFO, and then he's like breaking down when it's someone that he knows. I mean, this jury is seeing everything from this guy. It's unreal.
He's made himself an island, and you know, Alex has run out of people to turn to. You know, I mean, who are any of us without support of our friends or our family? He's isolated himself through this series of actions.
Unbelievable. All right, we've got much more to get to. When we come back, we're going to take you on the dock, another big case that we're tracking here at Court TV. Don't forget, folks, we are live at Fat Jack's in Walterboro, South Carolina. This small town hosting this huge trial, and there's the koi pond out front. Got to check out the fish tonight.
Did you know anything about Alec's finances?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about his law practice?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about where he gets his money?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about where he was spending his money?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about what his bank account balances were?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you know anything about the debt that he was carrying? Do you know anything about that?
No, sir.
Did you know the specific things that were going on in the boat case the week that Paul and Maggie were murdered?
No, sir.
Do you know anything about civil discovery and how it can expose financial information?
No, sir.
Do you know anything at all about him being confronted on June 7th, 2021 about...
Object.
Did you know anything about him being confronted on the morning of June 7th, 2021 about $792,000 of missing fees from his law firm?
Objection, Your Honor, but totally improper.
Objection is overruled. Did you know anything about that?
No, I did not.
You know any of the facts of those things that I just asked you about?
No, sir.
The life of Alec Murdaugh is bizarre. It is complicated.
This great South Carolina attorney is charged with the murders of his own wife and son.
Okay, and are they breathing? No, ma'am.
Who exactly is this guy?
The evidence is going to show that he was there.
He is innocent.
Who knows where this thing is going to end?
This case needs to be resolved. We need to put this behind us and move on.
Murdaugh Family Murders. Live coverage weekday mornings only on Court TV.
1231.
While you're at the scene, did Maggie's cell phone come up in conversation?
Yes, sir, it did.
All right. Describe the context of that. How did it come up, and who was there when it came up?
It was during the general overview of the scene. We started asking questions about pieces of physical evidence that might have been identified. I learned at that time that Paul's phone was found on him, and Maggie's phone was not located anywhere near the scene during scene processing.
So, you know how important cell phones are in cases today. The digital footprint is so much more important than the footprints in the ground, although the defense in this case may differ, right? Maggie's phone not with her. So how exactly did they find it? Take a listen.
When you learned Maggie's phone was missing, what did you have any ideas?
I did, yes, sir.
What idea did you have?
Knowing that they were the Murdaughs were a close-knit family, I figured one of the family members might have had her direct location on Find My iPhone, knowing that they all utilized iPhones.
And did you communicate that idea to anybody?
Yes, sir, I did. I spoke with John Marvin Murdaugh on scene.
All right. And what did he do in reaction to your suggestion?
He believed that one of the family members did have access to Maggie Murdaugh's phone location via Find My iPhone. He left for a few minutes, short minutes, and came back to me with a cell phone believed to be Buster Murdaugh's phone. So I then went back to my vehicle. I got in with John Marvin. I had possession of the phone the entire time. Two of our other investigators, Solicitor Jojo Woodward and Investigator Donnie Hutto, rode with me back towards the general area of where the device was showing.
Can you approximate the distance from the road that you found this phone?
I did not step it off or measure it, but I would say between 15 and 20 feet.
All right, 15, 20 feet. I think a precise measurement would have been better. But anyway, 15 to 20 feet off the road. And how did the phone get there? Who threw it there? You know, the defense is putting a lot on this particular fact, saying that it would have been impossible for Alec Murdaugh to have placed the phone there. He'd have to be Houdini. Let's bring back in our think tank Jared Newman, Tommy Pope with me here at Fat Jackson Waterboro, and joining us in Phoenix tonight, Kirk Nurmi. Kirk, let me ask you about this phone. How significant is it? Is it, because it's not found at the scene, so someone had to get rid of the phone.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to say because the state's case is still, you know, formulating together. But when we talk about, that's why I think they're getting a little bit scattershot. The phone, the money, what's the motive, what have you. I don't think right now we can say definitively that this phone tilts one way or the other, this idea. And I remember the cross-examination, how far could you throw the phone, left-handed or right-handed, et cetera. And it was really just wheels spinning and no one getting anywhere. So right now, I think it might be one of those things that might be unexplainable in this situation, but maybe not all that significant when it comes to the verdict, because I doubt the jury is going to be grappling with the phone if the state does a good job of telling a compelling story of why these murders happened.
You know, it's interesting you talk about the tilting of the phone. The orientation of the phone, apparently the experts can kind of figure that out, and that's going to be continue to be a big issue in this case. So let's get to the cross-examination of this witness, because I think it's significant. And again, the defense, I think, is putting a lot on this phone to try to shorten the timeline and create that reasonable doubt.
So you would agree with me if someone had carefully walked over and placed this phone, there wouldn't be anything above it, because everything that straw would be under it, correct?
It's possible, yes, sir.
Okay. And in addition to that, did anybody forensically check the area around it to see if there were footprints?
No, sir. I mean, it was heavily treed, heavily wooded, a lot of leaves. You could not see any foot impressions around that phone.
Just assume with me for a second that they want to get rid of that phone by throwing it out the window. They could either throw it from their lane of traffic if they're going towards Elmina, or they can pull over like that and throw it out. It'd be easier, when I say easier, it'd be a much tougher toss that far in from if they never left their lane of traffic, correct?
Guess it depends on who's throwing it. There's a multitude of things.
Me. It'd be me, and I don't throw very well.
No. Well, I do, so I could 100% make that throw.
You could throw it from, okay, so you wouldn't even have to change lanes. You just throw it out the window.
Yes, sir, 100%.
And you would throw it overhanded or underhand?
I'd throw it sideways.
I think I remember some testimony that Alec Murdaugh played baseball. Didn't he play baseball? He's an athlete.
Yeah, but it's a phone. I mean, I've tossed beer cans out of the car further than that when I was in high school.
So you don't think it's any problem to toss it from a car?
Absolutely not. I think they missed on that. Why didn't they talk about, why didn't you DNA test this phone? Who preserved it? Why is the solicitor's investigator there? I think there were a lot of questions that were missed.
I think you had to put in the phone now just for the jury attention because we're doing all the other technical stuff, but it's a piece that really doesn't fit as well, I don't think. And again, I have to agree, when I was solicitor, I made sure my investigators didn't get in the chain of evidence for the very reason they said. I think ultimately he was crossing him asking about, would the solicitor took some pictures, is he going to lay the basis himself if he testifies? And for that very reason, you avoid that. Not measuring, you know, unfortunately, I think they had to use it. They had it. They had to use it. It leaves some more room for the defense to pull the threads of reasonable doubt.
All right, let's listen to some more testimony about some other cell phones.
Let's go forward to the day of June 10th, which was 2 days after you found Maggie's phone. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
All right. And did you have reason to respond back out to Moselle on that day?
It was not Moselle, but I believe it was John Marvin's hunting property.
Okay. All right. You responded to John Marvin's hunting property, and why did you go there on that day, June 10th?
I was requested to extract cellular phones from Alec Murdaugh, Randy Murdaugh, John Marvin Murdaugh, and Buster Murdaugh while they're all being questioned by SLED agents.
Just generally speaking, why did you download? Why were you needed to download his phones on that day? What was the purpose?
I was tasked by multiple SLED agents to assist them while they were conducting all their interviews to extract the contents of their phone to see if there might be any evidence of the murders in any of their phones.
All right, it's 3 days later. Is that too late?
I'm just mystified about how they treated this phone. Photographs, evidence,
all right, so tell me
DNA.
why. You're mystified, but why would they treat an investigation like this, a double murder in a prominent family? Wouldn't you dot the I's, cross the T's, bring out the best investigators, do everything by the book?
I mean, the SLED agent, Miss McAllister, said when she went to the house, there's 20, 25 people in your crime scene that you have a search warrant for.
Why is this happening?
And she said, we backed off and, you know.
Why, though? Why?
I'm going to give them the broadest benefit of the doubt that it was courtesy for a grieving family, but at some point, the investigation has got to take a priority over courtesy. And then I hate to say it, I know the whole spin about, you know, the power of the family or the, you know.
You think that played a role?
I hate to say it, but I don't know that would happen at some other house with a family full of perhaps, you know.
Kirk, so who does this help? Like, ultimately, I guess it hurts the investigation, but it seems the investigators are giving some deference to the Murdaugh family and to Alec Murdaugh. So it's not like he became the focus, the rush to judgment, the tunnel vision and all of that. They seem to be providing him some deference as a victim that night. So shouldn't it really cut both ways?
I don't think so, Vinny, because the state bears the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and that sloppy investigation, what we saw.
Oh, you're always talking about that reasonable doubt, Kirk. How many years now I've been hearing you talking about reasonable doubt?
It's the American way, Vinny. It's the American way. Maybe you can get a piece of apple pie and some reasonable doubt out there, because that's the way it goes. And they just left a big hole for the defense to drive a bus through, because ultimately it's just another key to this sloppy investigation and saying they don't know what they're talking about. They're grasping at straws. There's no motivation for money here. He wasn't financially going to gain from the deaths. And it just really opens up a bad look for the state. And when you're talking about that presumption of reasonable doubt as it applies to someone so prominent. Keep in mind, last week we talked about OJ. I think the reasonable doubt is bigger for someone who's so prominent, so famous, for them to do a crime like this, for them to be believed that they committed a crime like this. And the state and the investigation is just giving the defense every opportunity to show that they didn't take advantage of that already, I believe, expanded concept of reasonable doubt.
Kirk, you got me thinking about apple pie. We're here at Fat Jack's. I haven't checked the dessert menu since I've been here. Have you?
Good desserts.
They do? Do they have apple pie? We know.
We'll ask Mr. Fat Jack.
We'll have to ask Fat Jack. Okay. All right, folks, we got more to get to. Our guests are staying with us. This is such a big case, such a big trial. A lot at stake. We'll be back in the courtroom with Court TV cameras tomorrow, obviously. We'll be back here at Fat Jack's. But when we come back, there's another trial I need to tell you about. This is a big one that starts in March. Don't go anywhere.
What's the first thing you thought when you heard he had been shot?
You know, nobody knew what to think. A lot of thoughts went through, but fear went through. Was this retaliation? Was he involved in something bigger that was going to get more of us in trouble? And just fear.
I will kill you, I will end you, and I will destroy you.
Someone they knew is back.
I mean, you talk about high stakes, right?
With a brand new season.
This is how I'm going to die.
New crimes.
It was a brutal killing.
New cases.
You ask yourself, why?
Committed by those closest to the victim.
They seemed happy.
Someone They Knew with Tamron Hall. New season premieres February 19th.
Only on CourtTV.edu.
I got up, I called Maggie, didn't get an answer, and I think I texted her.
What does that text say?
It says, going to check on him, be right back.
I left to go to my mom's. She had said she might ride with me, but she normally doesn't.
So is there anybody that you can think of that we need to talk to tonight?
I mean, I can't tell you anybody that I'm overly suspicious of.
We're going to have much, much more on the Murdaugh case coming up in just a minute. But first, I want to tell you about another big case that we're tracking here on Court TV out of California. Orrin and Orson West, two little toddlers, had a tough, tough life. I mean, they got put into foster care, then they were adopted, and then they went missing. Here's the story of the Cal City toddlers.
It was December 21st, 2020. Orrin and Orson West, also known as Classic and Sincere, were first reported missing in California City by their adoptive parents, Terzell and Jacqueline West. Days after that time, the West parents telling 23 ABC they understand that people would accuse them of the disappearance.
And that's understandable.
What's your response to that?
That's understandable. I would think the same thing.
And the Cal City Police Chief John Walker assuring the community his department was looking for clues day in and day out at the start of the investigation.
We're just trying to dig up anything, any clues that we can possibly find to find out where they had gone and also to confirm that they're not in the backyard.
The disappearance prompting a massive search effort involving not only Cal City Police, but the Bakersfield Police Department, the FBI, and the community. Then month after month, the community rallied together for searches, marches, and vigils, all to find the boys.
Where are the boys? No boys, no beats! Where are the boys? No boys, no beats!
And reward money for information and the return of the boys continued to grow in 2021 as local businesses, community members, and a private investigator joined the search efforts for the boys.
There was some elements that stood out about the foster families' interviews that pretty much compelled me to participate and come out and do what we could to help find both of these boys.
Billboards with the boys' faces and the rewards started to appear in February 2021 in Kern County. But after 8 weeks, Cal City Police confirmed they have no suspects in the case. In March 1st, 2021, the Bakersfield Police Department officially took over the case. They continued the search in Cal City and Southeast Bakersfield for the boys, issuing a search warrant to the adoptive grandparents and more than 20 more search warrants in the case. It wasn't until June 2021 BPD gave an update on the case, announcing 170 items have been seized, 83 individuals have been interviewed, 44 search warrants have been conducted, 16 mass area searches have been done, 3 searches outside of California, and 200 plus tips have been received and followed up on, but still, the boys have not been located. Then month after month, the community continued to come together with prayer vigils and hoping for answers for the boys. But December, nearly 1 year after they were first reported missing, BPD provided an update saying since June, they executed 4 more search warrants, interviewed 33 more people, conducted 11 mass area searches, and 4 out-of-state searches. During the 1-year anniversary, we spoke to the biological family who said they just want answers.
Some kind of answers. It's been a year. We deserve something.
Yes, yes.
That's, I mean, it's only right.
Orson's biological father saying regardless of the circumstances, he will always be here for the boys.
I still got them. They should know that I still love them, that I'm always going to have their backs regardless of the fact those are my kids. Like, you know, that's something that you'll miss in life that you can never get back.
Now, just 14 months after they were first reported missing, the Kern County grand jury indicted the adoptive parents, Terzell and Jacqueline West, for the murder of Orrin and Orson West. They were arrested March 1st around 7 p.m. near Highway 58 in Enos Lane. Kern County District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer announcing the investigation unveils that the boys are dead. But Zimmer added that the bodies have not been found, and now the family is still searching for answers.
The question is now, where are the boys' bodies? We want to be able to bring them home and, give them a proper burial.
All right, folks, take a look at the status hearing on February 16th. That's coming up. And then the trial date, March 1st. Mark that down, March 1st. California versus Terzell and Jacqueline West, the Cal City toddler case. When we come back, we're going to take you back to the Murdaugh family murder trial. Tonight's Tank Takes when we return.
You said your dad's in the hospital?
Yes, sir.
Which hospital? Charleston or?
Savannah, Candler, St. Joseph's.
Is he doing okay, or what's?
He's having a really, really hard time. He's got a lot going on. He's doing okay, given everything, but he's got a lot going on.
Murder suspect Aiden Fucci.
Accused of stabbing his classmate 114 times.
Tristan Bailey's body that was actually located by a person in the neighborhood.
13 years old.
He is charged as an adult.
What should our system do with someone like this?
I won't let you things take my soul.
The teenage cheerleader murder trial. Live coverage next week following jury selection on Court TV.
System plans.
Welcome back. Time for our Tank Takes, where we take a look at some of the testimony and moments from the trial and get a quick take from our think tank. Let's get to our first one that we're calling Maggie Come Home. This one involving some text messages received by Alex's wife.
All right, and that's 3:55 in the afternoon, correct?
Yes, sir.
Of June 7th, correct?
Yes, sir. That's in the afternoon. You subtract 4.
All right, read that text, please.
It says, TY, I'm waiting at doctor. Alex wants me to come home.
Alex what?
Wants me to come home. I had to leave door open at Edisto, but trust Mexicans to shut and lock for me. His dad is back in hospital. The last doctor claims no cancer, it's pneumonia. And then there's some emojis and it says Alex, but I'm not sure if that's going into the next thread or not.
All right, Kirk Nurmi, I'm going to go to you first. Based upon these text messages, do you think that Alec Murdaugh was going to lure her back to the house, or did he need her back at the house?
Well, I don't think these text messages really point to either way in terms of luring or needing or any of that. It's all still jumbled to me in terms of what this all means in the bigger picture, because the state really hasn't done a good job of painting a picture so far. I think they've got a lot of evidence, and I think he's probably guilty, but they haven't painted a good picture yet. And some of these things, like the phone where it was found, is kind of coloring outside the lines, and it's making it harder to follow.
Tommy Pope, what do you think? Did Alec lure her, or did he need her?
I think he probably needed her. He needed her in proximity. You know, Randolph's dying. You know, he's not lasting long. You know, he's just had the confrontation at work. A lot's going on. Now, what he ultimately needs him for, but he just needs to gather her there, and then he makes the determination.
Jared, what do you think?
What the state put up, I think we're all just guessing.
We're guessing?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to our next one.
Oh, I thought that was part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Next one is the birthday video. It is now evidence in the case. Let's take a look.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. All right. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you.
Thank y'all so much.
Hey.
Thank you, baby.
What did we just see? Is this the real Alec Murdaugh or the real Alec Murdaugh? Jared Newman, you know him.
Well, first, he doesn't look stoned on oxys, but Alec's gregarious. He's fun. He's loving. He'd come up to you. He would know your name in a minute and forever know you're Vinnie and would find you and shake your hand. That's just the way he is. He's the politician in the family.
No doubt. No doubt.
So what is this birthday video reveal?
The pro is, that is who, or at least the guy we knew, you know, that's who he is. That's the guy his friend knew before this. I think that doesn't change a thing as far as can he be the one that committed these crimes, because everybody in a domestic murder, I'd say you could show a video similar to that.
But the jury usually doesn't get to see it. That's the difference. That's the difference. Kirk,
that is true.
How powerful is this birthday video?
You know, I think it really is consistent with the picture we're seeing all throughout trial. I mean, the jury's seen his emotional reactions. I think it's painting a picture of a guy who's very emotional. So this could have been him being upset, distraught. They're going to make some conclusions from this, but it's really consistent with, I think, everything we've seen of his mannerisms in the court, and that's what's going to connect to the jury with this video.
And I'll tell you what else. He does refer to Maggie as babe in that video, and in one of those text messages after she's murdered, according to prosecutors, also refers to Maggie as babe. All right, let's get to our final take tonight. This one we're calling Not My Job. It's a look at some of the crime scene investigators and some of their testimony about what they did or what they didn't do at the scene.
Did you take pictures of the trial?
I did not take any pictures of the scene.
Instruct anyone to take pictures of the trial?
No, sir, that's not my job.
When Sweat arrived, did you tell them about the trial?
No, sir, not my job.
Is your job to be a crime scene investigator?
No, sir.
To your knowledge, did anyone look for bloody clothes or dirty clothes in the house while you were there on the 8th?
I was in the gun room and I was collecting.
So the procedures followed were not the procedures recommended by every agency and your agency, correct?
If I had realized that was footwear on scene, I would have documented it properly, yes.
All right, it's coming out. A lot of people at the scene aren't doing things. Whose job is it, Jared?
Well, one, it's a supervisor's job to assign. This looked like Sergeant Schultz from Hogan Zero. I know nothing. You know, they don't want to answer questions because they did a lousy job on this crime scene. The investigation, I give an F.
All right, well, we got some breaking news. We have determined there is no apple pie here, but look what we do have. This is, what is this? This is the salted caramel vanilla cream cake pie. Looks beautiful. I got 2 spoons. Guys, yes, no?
My wife's watching, so I might have to wait till you turn the camera off.
All right, this is fantastic. All right, I can't get this tie dirty. Kirk wants some, but he cannot have it. We're going to ship it out to Arizona. Box that up, Arizona, send it out. Kirk Nurmi, thank you so much. Jared Newman, Tommy Pope, appreciate your time. Also, wanted to say thank you to Terry down in Port Orange, Florida. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. All right, when we come back, folks, we've got a little bit more work to do. Don't go anywhere.